So for everyone who doesn't know, me and Nate didn't know anything about each other before this weekend, and now we're new best friends. He's the only guy at the show taller than me.
I was so tripped out.
Follow him around.
I told Nate, I was like, dude, I thought you were my height. Hell no.
So, for people who are wondering, Charlie goes, follow me, as he walks through a crowd, immediately lost him. Charlie is 5'3". He goes, follow me, Daniel, and walks through
5'6". 5'6", get it straight.
It's close enough. 5'3", close enough.
I'm not that sure. Hey, you took away 3 inches from you, man.
You don't need them.
You won't miss it.
So you walk through a crowd. You're like, hey, Daniel, come this way. We're going for a raffle. And then immediately just lost you. Just in a crowd. I went, where did he go? It was just like you just disappeared immediately.
So what's going on, Nate?
Just hanging out, man. Fish over yesterday, but I'm too tired to go fish today, so. Yeah, dude. Actually,
so you got a large
I went twice at 2 different points in the day. I went like midday and then at night as well, and went 3 and 3.
Is that a secret spot, or were you at one of the public
lake.
parks?
I mean, it's Canyon Lake for anyone. You know, it's hard to fish because you have to live there to fish there, know someone. So I don't mind saying it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a private. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, man.
Of course.
Stoked to have you on. Stoked to pick your brain.
Thanks for having me.
So we got Luke in the car. You should be home soon. Yeah.
Me? Who knows? It's LA. Who knows?
Could be.
Right. I've already logged in.
What's up, Reyes?
For the most part, I'm pretty sure everybody in the South Bay knows Nate. Is Stilo your last name?
My name's Stilinovich. I don't know. I just abbreviated it when I was like 14 or however old I was when I first got Instagram, and kept it ever since.
All right. So anyone who's kind of in the South Bay fishing scene, we've at least seen you, I would say. You're kind of the person, you're like keeping up with the Joneses, but instead it's like kind of keeping up with Nate. You're like, man, Nate's out there 2 times today catching largemouth. I haven't even gone out once this week. So where I'm going with this is you just were added on to the Fish Reps team. Yeah. And how's that going? What does that look like for you?
It's super cool. Kevin just hit me up one day and was like, hey, bro, like, I need some people to make content for me for the Fishing Reps, and was like, you know, you catch a lot of fish and you already fish the companies that we represent. So, you know, it kind of fits. And, you know, I already was a fan of Kicker and Warbaits, and I didn't really know about the rods, the Taipan rods or the slow pitch jigs all that much. But, I mean, they're just as great companies as well, you know, after I fished them and all that stuff. So, but yeah, so it was kind of a perfect fit.
So about the rods, I just picked up one of them. They're like, a trip, huh?
They're insanely light.
They're very light.
Like, you can feel, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the video on Instagram that they posted, but
we saw.
Dude, they made it look like an ugly stick.
Yeah.
That was
and it didn't break.
Yeah. But it doesn't have action.
Nah, ugly sticks are like noodles, man.
Yeah, of course. But these rods have way more backbone. But they'll bend like an ugly stick if you put them under that much pressure, which is insane to me. Because any other rod company, at least as far as I know, is breaking for the most part.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I was going to pick up a rain shadow blank. Me and Charlie went through their whole deal, checked out all their rods, all their blanks, wrote down what we wanted, swung by the booth, and it was like, oh, you know what? I think I'm walking away with this. It's considerably lighter. It's very
764?
strong. What did I get? Charlie,
medium heavy?
764?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have the 7.5 heavy and dude, it's like perfect for my style of fishing.
What's the
like,
specs on that one?
let me look. It is 7.5 heavy, half ounce to 1.5, 12 to 30.
Okay, 12 to 30. Gotcha. Yeah,
15 to
mine
20.
I think is more like
Oh, 15 to 20.
10 to 20.
I think.
Yeah. No.
10 to 20?
10 to 20. Yeah, 15 to 20 is too small of a gap.
But yeah,
20 would be insane.
Yeah.
Dude,
So what
it's
are you
like a
throwing
jack of
on
all
that? You
trades
throwing
rod,
swim
honestly.
baits?
Like I fish it like neck breakers in the salt, dark sleepers. I would even throw a crankbait on this rod. I throw jigs in fresh water, small swim baits, cover scat. That's what I have tied on.
So is that one of the
Yeah, it's a
warbaits ones, or is that
warbaits,
just a regular
7.5
typing
heavy.
one?
and
Now, is that made with different material than the
I
regular
don't believe
typing
so.
rods?
I think they're all the same. This one was just to Afran's specs and to Kevin's specs and to just to fit more of the inshore saltwater bass we have here instead of freshwater. But honestly, like for example, like I said, this rod is perfect for like frogs, jigs, anything in freshwater as well. That would be like a heavier application.
Mhm.
So they work for both. But I think they geared them more towards the saltwater scene for sure.
Now that's the cool part about kind of something that's universal like that, because I know when I jumped into bass fishing in general, I kind of only wanted one setup so that I could test the waters really. Be like, is bass fishing something for me? Do I actually enjoy bass fishing? Jump 4 years later, 5 years later, and I now make bass lures. So I think it was something for me. But the cool part is having that universal inshore rod that can go to, freshwater, largemouth, smallmouth, whatever else that is offered in our local areas, but also just around the United States in general. But then you can go over to saltwater, so you don't have to be like, all right, well, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need 8 different reels, and I need this. You're like, all right, I got my one rod. I can be virtually universal with wherever I go, from the 1/4 ounce to the 3/8 ounce to the crankbait, like you were saying. And so that's honestly, in my book, one of the key components into finding a rod.
Yeah, 100%. I just saw a question.
if I buy a warbaits rod, will I catch more fish?
You know what? I'll be honest. It depends on what rod you're using now. If you're using an ugly stick, maybe.
What's up, Josh?
So somebody just asked for my PB bass. Sorry to interrupt. Largemouth is just under 5 pounds. Actually, I don't think I've broken 5 pounds in any bass. My biggest sand bass is approaching 5, but I don't have official weigh on it. So I can the only reason I know it's approaching 5 is because I weighed largemouth that day that were close to 5. And this sand bass was the same size, if not bigger. So I know it's like in that 5 range, but I'm just going to say that it's below 5 to make the masses happy. Largemouth below 5, calico just below 5. The only one that's above 5 is the spotted bay bass. I hold the world record. So yeah, it's weird how that works out. The spotted bay bass is the only one above 5 pounds, but me, I just catch spotted bay bass. That's also a joke.
So did they just want to know about your PB, or are we all?
Nate, what? Well, now that we're talking about PBs,
Okay,
Nate,
mind.
what's your PBs in all waters?
So spotty is 19 inches. Actually, so for none of my PBs, I have a scale, but I have a measuring board on all of them. I've learned since then, and I've picked up a scale. But yeah, so my spotty is 19 inches, which I don't know. I personally think was around 4, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. I've caught 17 inches at 3.5, so that's just my logic behind it. Sand bass, 25 inches. I honestly, I don't want to say
That's getting up there.
it's a magic number, so I always tell everyone like an 8 or a 9 pounder. But I mean, I've seen plenty of bass at 25 inches of any species go 10, so the possibilities there. And my PB largemouth is also 25, and calico is 27.
Damn.
27.
Somebody asked, what fights better?
What are you doing? Not
Crying.
carrying a scale?
I'm crying now.
Because he's on
With those
he's on
numbers.
ninja missions. He ain't worried about a scale.
Exactly.
They make them
Gotta make a
so
scale with no
small.
weight. That's the only way.
What's up, Kevin? You got Kevin. Which one? Somebody asked which one fights better, or which one fights harder?
Sand bass.
In your opinion,
Sand bass.
sand bass.
100%. Without a doubt. I've caught sand bass and calico the same
Interesting.
day in the same spot, similar size, and I feel like calico, once you get them out of the structure, they like kind of glide bait up like a freshwater glide bait. Like they just kind of go back and forth. The smaller ones, at least. And then, really,
That's funny.
okay.
I
you
feel
fish
the
wall a
opposite
little
way.
more, which
I say I've had a lot of calico that just nonstop dig.
that's weird because, like in San Diego, I guess it's just a change of like scenery because you don't really find too many calico in the reefs in San Diego. I mean, you do, but I mainly fish them in the kelp forest.
Well, one of my things is how deep are you fishing for those calico? So I know San Diego has a lot of deep water structures.
For calico, I'm fishing anywhere from like 30 to 150. For sand bass, same thing, 40 to like 200 probably.
Because I feel like Luke and I have fished probably in 10 feet to like 15 feet of water for calico.
I love how you excluded me.
Yeah, Charlie doesn't do it.
I short pound.
So,
I would say 10.
yeah, what I'm trying to highlight is that the shallowness of the water, that structure is almost constantly there when you're winding in.
Yes.
So I've actually caught
attainable.
sand bass parallel to a wall where they'll rush you and then run into a hole. And so you're trying to catch up with them, and then they just go whoop, straight into a hole, and you're like, oh no, come on, get out of there. So it's interesting because they always have that possibility to just like shoot towards you and then straight into a hole.
Yep, 100%. I mean, I don't fish the wall much, but I fish Dana Point breakwall sometimes. I fish Long Beach breakwall sometimes. San Diego Bay, Zuniga has some pretty good fishing at times, but sometimes it's a desert. But, you know, in those situations, I'm fishing like 1 foot of water to all the way out.
Man, I've fished San Diego when it's a desert. It's usually only a desert when I'm there.
Right.
Like the next hour, the next day, I see people posting like, "Oh my gosh, I caught so many," and I'm just like, I guess I just can't catch fish.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be honest, San Diego and like up there are 2 completely different styles of fishing. Like I fish 2 different ways. San Diego for me is a little more finesse, and you know, Long Beach, Alamitos, I fish bigger baits a little more, and I feel like they eat bigger baits up north a little better personally. So
in San Diego, you're going to fish it more like you would almost fish spotties.
Well, that's how I fish spotties, but up north, it's more like, I don't know. If we're going calico and sand bass, I fish pretty much the same way. I fish a PK5 on a 3/4 ounce neck breaker. That's pretty much everywhere. Which, I mean, some people would consider that finesse, to be honest with you. That's a small bait for, you know, considering what other baits are out there. But for spotties, I was kind of meaning that was my fault. But yeah, in San Diego, I'm like, a lot of times I'll throw a 3-inch, 2.5-inch bait, you know, because a 4-inch bait won't get bit for whatever reason. Yeah. And
Oh, really?
Up north, you can throw a 7-inch bait and spotties will just like attack it like it's nothing. It's weird.
Slurp it up.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, what's your favorite spotty
Yeah, I've thrown
recipe?
Spotty recipe? I don't know. I've never ate a spotty before, just calico.
I don't know if they were talking about lures.
So it's funny that you mentioned that San Diego's a little bit more finesse, because it's almost completely opposite for me. Because San Diego is more open water, I feel like there's a lot more opportunity to use a fin bait, which would be those paddle tails, those boot tails, something with a tail. When up north, I'm more like, all right, let's use a craw, let's use a creature bait of some sort, let's use something with claws rather than needing a fin bait. So that's something that I feel like I've been.
That's because you're stuck in your ways, Daniel.
He is.
I just gave two completely opposite things. When in San Diego, it's more of a cast and retrieve with a paddle tail, than up here is more of a creature bait.
Yeah.
I've done pretty good up here honestly, with paddle tails.
Up in Alameda,
little hot Cheetos,
like Long Beach, I'll throw like PK5 or a 5-inch pearl in the docks for spotties, and I feel like I get chewed up pretty good. And I've had my buddies fish PK7s and bigger MCs and stuff like that. And then you'll go in San Diego and you just get like more of like a territorial peck on the same bait. It's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they don't want to eat it, but it's in their space, so they're just like, get out of my face, I'm gonna just hit it.
Well, every now and then you'll pull up spotties that got the little scars on them, and you can tell they've been down there battling.
Guys, another thing about San Diego is I don't catch any sand bass or calico in or harbor at all from shore. I mean, you come across one in a blue moon and small ones, but in Long Beach, dude, I've hooked 5-pound sand bass from the shore. So it's like, I feel like the spotties aren't the top of the food chain, So they got to deal with bigger sand bass, bigger calico, white sea bass, halibut, all these other things. And in San Diego, I mean, those things are there, but just not as much.
Yeah, my big sand bass in Long Beach came casting up from a boat, but casting onto the rocks.
Oh yeah,
and it was just in a couple feet of water. I thought I was stuck. So I was very shocked at how close a large sand bass
my biggest
sand
bass is from the docks. It was, like I was saying, just under 5. At that time, I was using a Daiwa rod because I was just getting into bass fishing. So when I hooked this sand bass, my whole rod doubled over. And I'm on the docks, and I'm like trying to yell to my friends as quietly as possible, like, guys, I think I got a big one. I mean, the only reason I was able to bounce this fish onto the dock is because we were on this one, like, really just low hanging dock. It was probably like an inch from the water rather than those like normal 5 to 6 inch, kind of like flotation like docks and all that stuff.
Right.
And it was wild. I was just there nonchalantly doing whatever, thinking about whatever. I really didn't think I was going to get bit. It was just in that one, it was just kind of one of those things. It was like, I'll just make a cast over here. And it was just the craziest thing. It hit so hard. And then when I bounced it onto the dock, it's like midnight, mind you, and it's just boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, holy, yeah. So I jumped on it like a live grenade kind of thing. And I'm like pinning it. I'm like holding it down. And at this point, all my friends who were scattered are like, what the hell's going on over there? So they all come running over, and I just lift this thing up, and it is. I really want to say it's bigger than 5 pounds, but I'll show a picture of that later. But it was definitely still to this day my biggest sand bass.
You haven't posted a picture of it?
No, it was a couple years ago.
Oh,
I have. It's on my,
yeah, my
main page.
I think my biggest sand bass from shore was 19, probably like 4 pounds, 3 pounds.
19-inch can go 4, no problem.
Yeah, it was a dead stick in a jig too, man. He just picked it up.
Like a warbait jig, like a swim jig.
Yeah, one of Nick's jigs.
Sick.
One of those custom cutter ones.
Oh yeah, those things are fire.
Yeah, man. The nuclear chicken.
Which color?
Haha, of course.
Dude, sand bass love nuclear chicken, man.
Yep, dude, chartreuse.
That chartreuse with the hot pink.
Mm-hmm.
Sick. But tell us how you started fishing.
I've kind of been around it my whole life, to be honest. My grandpa was a mountain man, and he was like a hunter, fisherman, but he was like a trout guy. So whenever he would visit town, he'd just take me to the lakes around here, or I would travel up to Idaho and go fish up there with him for, bluegill and trout and all that stuff. And then as I got older, like middle school age, I don't know, like 11, 12, I finally got on YouTube and saw bass fishing, topwater frogs and all this stuff. And I was like, holy cow, that stuff is so cool. And ever since then, I've kind of just expanded from there and ventured to the harbors, once I got into high school and stuff like that. And now I'm here.
That's
been fishing for
all she wrote.
Yeah, been fishing for a while. It didn't really turn into I don't know, it was always just a hobby. And even with Instagram, mainly just a hobby and a logbook for me. Oh yeah, that color's fire. Look at that thing.
Mm-hmm. Dude, you got Nate stopping in his tracks, man.
I'll be distracted, dude. But
you're on mute.
Hi, what's up, everybody? Good to see you all. Yeah, no, Kevin just asked, so I wanted to show him. Got that pink going. I got a couple of other things.
What's up, Phil?
But yeah, got that classic color going right now.
You got any of the blood raven color?
Maybe. Still working on that one.
The black raven? Oh, the blood raven.
Yeah, Luke.
Blood raven.
So Luke right now is currently trying to make his own color, which is a really cool color. It's going to be a lot of red. Yeah.
It's going to come out
the
sweet.
The fun thing is he has a really big idea for it. He wants to put the blood raven on the red crow, and from there call it the, what'd you want to call it, Luke? Prince of the Raven.
So the Ravens.
Be really cool.
On the red crow, on your red crow, or on the one you're making?
On the one that I'm making.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of red and a lot of black.
The red crow that he currently makes.
It's going to be cool.
With a little bit of gold.
I'm basically pouring up a couple of orders, and it's going to look more like slugs. If I have enough time, I'm going to make it to a bunch of different colored candy craws and skeleton craws. As of right now, slugs and paddletails to try out.
I'm stoked for those paddletails.
I know. I'm really excited about those too.
Have you got to swim yet, Daniel?
The new prototype that we worked on, but I'm really excited for the 3.25 inch. So the 3.25 inch one and the 7 inch. I think those are the three that I'm going to probably offer.
Me too.
The 3.5 or 3.25, the 5, and then the 7 in that range, and then probably mix and match from there.
Yo, Nate, so tell us, how was it for you at the show? You're on mute.
You good?
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
Good. I was there for 3 whole days, just chatting it up, dude. Talking to people, meeting everyone. It was really cool. I enjoyed myself, just sharing stories and just everything, man. I had a blast. It was it was like finally getting to meet everyone you talk to on Instagram, but like never fished with, or like, you know. So that was dope.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's cool seeing people face to face, man. When you only talk to them online,
Exactly.
and you gotta look at them. You gotta look at them like this. I'm not gonna get over that, man. I'm not gonna get over that.
Well, Charlie, that's because you're 5'3". Not all of us had to look at him like that, but most of us did.
You weren't even.
No, you don't even
there.
know. You weren't there. He was. No, you weren't. He was hunching over when we met him, and I said, "Hey, could you stand? Could you stand up straight for a second?" And he stood up, and I went, "Wow, look at you!"
Yeah,
the stories that I heard is that Charlie came running up to Nate, and he was like, "Oh my God, I'm the biggest fan." And Nate was like,
"What?
Oh my God, little boy, it's so nice to meet you."
Damn, that is a funny story though. If it would have happened, but it didn't.
No, I'm not lying though, Daniel. I told him to stand up straight and told me he was magnificent.
No way, he did.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, yeah.
I said, "Wow, look at you."
No, I pulled up and I see this tall dude talking to Nick, and I'm like, "Oh, what's up, Nick?" And he's like, "Meet Stilo," and I'm like, "What?" So I was stoked. I ain't even gonna lie, I was stoked, but Daniel's story sounded better.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, dude. It's like we said, dude. It's just cool to finally meet, you know, everyone. Like,
so were you going to every booth that you guys were with, like Kicker, Warbaits, and you were with Submission Fishing too, right? Hanging out in his booth.
Yeah, kind of hopping around. Lateral Vision as well. They weren't right next to us. They had their own bigger booth and stuff. But
dude, they had a cool booth. It was a dope.
My son went over there.
Oh yeah, dude, that was dope. That game, and it's crazy because like if you think about it, that game is way ahead of its time. Because
dude,
they're sitting there and Nick, Nick's right here listening to it. But yeah, that game is crazy because you're aiming to a TV that's like super old with like this old like device, and it's like registering your aim, which is crazy to me. But that was just like blowing my mind.
Dude, that was the game, man. I'm from the 90s, so I was playing in the 90s. Luke said he was playing it in the 80s.
That same game?
But that same game, man.
That game is crazy.
That's same game, of course.
Dude,
it's really weird being born in the 2000s and then hearing you guys being like, "Oh yeah, I was born in the late 1900s."
I mean, I was born in '98, so I don't even remember it. But
well, when you were, what did you play? Like Nintendo 60? Yeah, probably Nintendo 64. Really?
No, that was like when he was born. He wasn't even born
but
yet.
Mainly, like I started with GameCube and like went to like the Wii and the original Xbox.
I was gonna say because 64 came out in like 98.
Dang! Now, Phil, you're not an old device.
Yeah, you're not, man. Wait, Phil, chime in, man. What were you playing? Probably was playing the Atari 1000.
It's hard hearing you guys talk about games because it's like, So I grew up. I was born in 1995, and I started with the old systems. I started with the Sega Genesis. I went from there to the Super Nintendo.
Oh, hold on.
Dude, Sega Genesis was a game changer, dude. See, I was right. Phil started with Atari, then NES, and then Sega. Yeah,
Phil started with throwing rocks, okay? Get that right.
Dude, no, I remember my cousin had a Game Gear. So this was like a Game Boy on steroids. Like it had a light. Dude.
Yeah, Game Gear was another game changer.
So at the show, you were talking about crankbaits. I'm really stoked to hear about you fishing crankbaits. And do you fish them from shore or do you fish them from a boat?
I do fish them from shore sometimes, but you kind of have to have really deep water right next to the shore to fish them. For a deep diver anyway.
Yeah.
Jerk baits you can kind of get away with, or like a shallower diver you kind of get away with, but it doesn't really, I don't know. I don't think it's as effective from shore as it is from a boat or a tube or even a dock, to be honest. I fish from docks all the time. So,
okay.
Yeah, I mean.
So one of the tricks I do if I am fishing it from shore is once I start hitting structure, I'll stop and let it float back up.
Line.
What's your biggest bass on a crankbait?
You're absolutely correct. It's not
spotty
as effective.
is probably 17.5 inches. It's weird. The crankbait doesn't really get small fish for me, spotty wise. Like the only spotties I catch on them are like 12 inches and up, mostly like sublegal around that size. So I don't know. That's why I like the crank, is because it weeds out a lot of the smaller ones.
Somebody asked, Sammy asks, how deep of a diver are you using on the crank?
I use everywhere from like an 8 foot to 25 foot.
25 foot.
It just depends on where you're fishing, and how deep you want to get close to the bottom, or if you're fishing kelp, you want a crankbait that'll go right down the lane. There's just different applications for different, scenarios regarding structure and water depth and all that stuff.
So I will choose something within the 10 to 12 foot range because, like we mentioned, you can either raise your tip up, which is going to give it, let's say a 4 foot decrease, really. And then you can drop your tip for another 4 foot, increase. And then if you really want to get deeper, you can drop the tip underneath the water. So in my opinion, I'll technically go the 10 to 12 foot range. And then that will get me at least versatile enough to fish anywhere from, 4 feet to 16 feet kind of thing, which is the nice part. So especially when you were saying from shore or docks and all that stuff, which are the main places where a lot of us fish, you can fish the tip straight up and you can run it along those docks that are shallower, or you can make those real long casts. And here's a crankbait tip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a big sweeping motion that's going to get that crankbait down quickly, because that's where your strike zone is going to be. It's not going to be on the way down, and then it's like half your wind is already just on the way down. So I do those big sweeps. I do 2 of those, and then I wind a little bit faster to keep it down, and then I'll slow it up and then just do the whole, and I get a longer cast and a longer wind that way.
100%. I use.
So Nate, I told you I had some cranks for you.
Custom.
That's purdy right there.
That's purdy.
I'll fish it.
Yeah, Luke paints some pretty sick cranks, man.
I love the chartreuse, man. Spotties and chartreuse is like hand in hand, bro.
Candy.
That's not even chartreuse. That's a hologram.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I've got it. So the hologram shining through the scales.
Oh shit! I didn't even notice that.
That blows my mind. That was crazy right there.
Damn.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, the blade. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the blade, the hologram. This one's got all the shine.
Fire. I can get him bit. That's for sure. That won't take long.
That won't take long.
I'm sure you could get a cardboard box bit. So,
hey, Kevin said those look fire.
They do look fire.
They are. Those are some of my favorite crankbaits. Like I said, those are.
I would say Daniel had like a 19 fish day on that.
Just once. Though. No, I've had a lot of luck on Luke's crankbaits, and the cool part about it is I'll go, "Hey, Luke, paint this up for me. I need this color, and I need a prawn tail."
Whips it up. Just like that.
So that's the fun part.
Well, I do the same thing to him with lead.
Yeah, dude, those leads are sick too. The belly weights. I'm gonna have to hit you up for some of those.
There you go.
Yep. What's that?
Broken.
You make them 3/4 or 1 or both?
Whatever you want.
So
He's
2 ounce.
currently working on the 2 ounce.
So a 2 ounce on an ADOT is going to be mind blowing because Luke and I want to fish a little bit faster during the summer,
Right?
And even in the winter. It's like you get that crankbait style of fishing without having to fish the crankbait.
Exactly.
So you can put on that 7-inch paddle tail, you can put that 4-inch, you can put that however big boot tail, paddle tail, whatever swim bait you want with a 2 ounce weight. Are you kidding? You can crank that thing, but you're still fishing it effectively. It just opens up a whole different possibility. So I am working on upsizing to a 1 ounce, probably 1.5 ounces and 2 ounce, but I have to play around with the hook placements on that and kind of just see how those work out and work within the.
He keeps saying this. I'm like, just do it. Just throw it together. I'm going to fish it.
Do it. And I'm like, I have to make sure that it works just to do it. He's like, no, just do it. I'm like, okay, Luke.
We'll figure it out.
Easy as that.
Yeah.
Hey, Nate, Phil asked, what's up with the bass from last night?
I mean, just a classic. I mean, there's a few. I caught one on a HUD, just a 68 ROF 12, just slow rolling it in some rocks. That was pretty sweet, and they were surprisingly shallow. Pushing shad up on the shore, and like the shad were actually in like inches of water. You could see them. And then did I go mute there? Someone called me.
No, you're good.
No? Okay.
You're good.
Yeah, someone called me. I thought I went mute. But yeah, the rest was on a cover scat in the same rocks. Yeah, I feel like they're all hugging rock right now just because that's the warmest area.
What's a cover scat? I'm not familiar with that one.
It looks like this right here.
What's up, Lane?
It looks like that. It's literally just like a poo-looking bait that does nothing.
And how do you work that? Do you like pop it?
Yeah, I check it out. It's almost. Have you ever
play it like a slug
Ica?
or something?
It's almost like a fat Ica with no skirt.
Yeah,
and like a fatter butt end. You just cast it out, let it sink. It's weightless, so you let it sink. Takes a while, and then when it hits the bottom, I either drag it or hop it and let it sink back down, and repeat. But I think it's supposed to look like a crawfish.
What do you think it's replicating?
Or like a dying,
like a craw.
I mean, at night it could be anything really, just like dying and falling. But in the day, I think it looks like a crawfish or like a bug or maybe a small bluegill or something. I don't know, but it works, to be honest.
Now, do you like fishing at night or in the day?
That's crazy.
Depends. In the winter, I like fishing in the day because I feel like at night it's a lot colder and they're not as active. And then in the summer, I like fishing at night because I feel like in the day it's too hot and they're not active. So it just depends on the season. And
now, is that largemouth or is that
everything? For saltwater bass, I think nighttime is a lot easier, personally, just in general. Sometimes you can get on really good hard bait bites for calico in the day or deep water sand bass bites from a boat. But if we're going short pound, then I would say nighttime most of the time.
Yeah, because we're filming now, I'm trying to do more day trips because it just looks better. And it is interesting because I don't have the confidence during the day that I do at night. So it's interesting finding it's like I got to do things different because the night shit isn't going to work right now.
You almost have to find either current or dirty water. Because when the water is too still and too clear, I feel like they can look at your bait too good and they turn into like largemouth and they're too smart. And at night, it doesn't really matter about the water color. I mean, I still think current matters, but the watercolor definitely doesn't because it's dark. They can't. I mean, I feel like they can see, but they can't see as good anyway.
Exactly.
So,
well, it's almost like clear water could potentially be helpful.
It might even switch up. I don't know. I haven't tested that actually. Yeah.
We're during the day they're not into it.
Like I've been in areas in the harbor where I can see 15 feet down, and you can see all the spotties, but they won't eat nothing. You'll flip the littlest, tiniest finesse bait in front of them on 10 pound, and they won't eat it.
What was funny is the last time I was out with my dad, and the day before I'd been out with Charlie, and everything was heavy and fast, just pounded it along the bottom. I didn't get a single bite like that. Same place next day, but we'd go off structure, and it was just nonstop sand bass. We probably caught 3 times as many fish, but just completely. It was like a hookup bait and
dude.
Dark.
I love the dark sleepers, but I can't really rep them, so I gotta be a little.
Yeah, because I know somebody went up to the booth and was like, "Well, I started dark sleeping because of you." You know, dark sleeping. That sounds cool. Dark sleeping.
I mean, it's a sick bait. It's a sick bait. I caught my PB Sandy and my PB Spotty on it, so the proof's right there. But I feel like those sand bass will eat anything, at that point when they're that big. Yeah,
and sometimes they'll
there,
eat nothing.
They're there at all times. They're just deciding not to eat whatever you got.
My PB Sandy was also on a dark sleeper, and I felt lucky to land it. That hook was so straightened out. That's my biggest beef with the dark sleeper is the hook straightened out.
Really? What gear are you fishing
all the
on?
time.
Like 8-foot heavy or something? See, I'm fishing them on a 7.6 heavy.
I mean, look at me.
Warbait. I was fishing on this warbaits rod, even for sand bass.
Well, that's part of why I bought the new rod. Is I don't really have a good finesse rod for calico, and all my spotty rods are travel rods, and it's like I don't really want to bring a 3-piece out where I've got the potential of hooking into a 10-pound bass. I don't mind that. I don't mind that if I'm traveling. I just don't need to be putting them through that.
Caught my PB Sandy on a 100-sized Iowa reel and a 7-11 medium heavy.
Yeah, I was on like a 300 with a 15.
That was straight now almost a warbait if you pull hard enough. But you're not trying to give them a chance. With me, I don't know. No. I don't have a whole lot of setups, to be honest. I rock with 6, and that's for all my applications for freshwater and saltwater. So I typically have 4 freshwater reels and 2 saltwater reels. So I have 1 8-foot and 1 7.5. So I like to keep it simple. So when I'm out there, I just hope I get lucky with the big ones, I guess.
What was that size of the sand bass?
25 inches.
25 inches. Somebody asked. Have you? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask next.
If you've ever night cranked?
No. I've tried it, but I can never get them to eat it as good. I assume so. In the daytime, I burn them insanely fast, so fast your arm hurts after 10 casts. But I think it's more of a reaction bite, and you kind of get them to just they get red in their eyes and they have to eat it. At night, I'm sure you could eventually get one if you just got it to the bottom and slow rolled it and just had it tap off the bottom. But I don't know. I'd rather fish a pickle kick with a 3/4 ounce neck breaker and just fish it fast on the bottom. So,
our buddy Gavin has caught a couple on the crankbait at night, and even he was like, "You can do it.
You could do it if you put your back into it." 818 baits?
No, that's 818 baits. Yeah, I saw that you fish with Gavin from San Diego. That kid's always on him.
Yeah, you're telling me. He's one of those guys who you feel like you could never beat in if you were to have a little competition, I feel like I would never be able to beat him. He's just one of the fishiest dudes I've ever met, honestly. And it's only
we know we have a buddy like that.
I think he's
who's that?
Gavin. I think he's 18.
Oh,
19.
That's Shannon.
Oh, Shannon is.
Our buddy that's like that, Shannon Gallagher, and he doesn't like hearing it, but
oh yeah, dude.
What's funny is
Yeah.
He's always sharing.
But yeah,
he's
And
always
it's
sharing
like
the
every
info.
species, dude, like white sea bass, like everything, you know? So fishing dude, man.
Dude, no, go for it, Luke.
We were out on one trip, and it was like a dark sleeper bite. And he's like on his 8th fish with the dark sleeper. He's like, come on, try one out. I'm like, I don't want to fish that thing. It looks stupid. And he goes, you know what? I'm going to set it right here on top of the fish finder. And if at any point you change your mind, just know it's right there waiting for you. Catches like 3 more times.
Dude, that day we were fishing.
Stupid thing on. And he goes, oh, I
that
see
day
you
we
tied
fished
it on. Do you want me to
in
tell
San
you how it
Pedro. He
works?
was like, I don't want to fish no more because I don't want to take all the fish. I'm like, Shannon, you better keep fishing, man. You better keep fishing.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm going to let you catch some fish. I'm like, dude, I'm catching.
Yeah, dude.
Just not as much as you.
Someone's got to catch them, you know? I mean, I've been in that situation where my buddy's roping them and you're just watching them and you just got to be nothing but be happy for them. You're like, you know what, bro? Good for you.
Stoked.
'Cause damn,
Stoked.
bro, like,
Stoked.
Yep.
I had one of those days with Charlie.
No.
So I need to be careful around him. He was upset. Me and Daniel were like, don't be too excited.
I get stoked when everybody catches fish, man.
That's what they all say.
No, I do.
We were driving home and Charlie was just like,
I've told this story before, but as a bait maker, I'll get stubborn because I'll go, man, I just made this new color. I just made this new bait. I did this. I did that. And so I'll fish it. And I'll fish it all day. And that's
only
all I throw. I go,
fish it.
I'm going to throw it on the Texas rig. I'm going to throw it on the Carolina rig. I'm going to throw it on a lead head, sled head, neck breaker.
I'm going to throw 5.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and then I'll go all day without catching anything. And Luke is just silent because he's caught like 30, 40 fish. And he just knows that if he says anything, it's not going to be pretty. He's just like, you just see him over there just
throw it back in all soft.
Make no splash. Make no splash.
Oh man.
And then you'll hear this. Hey, Daniel, do you want to use a sudden impact? They're biting the 5.75 sugar shaker. I was like, no, there's going to be one bass that wants this.
Well, you did catch one.
I caught a sculpin.
So what? It's still a fish. It's still a fish.
Dude, sculpin are gnarly, bro. If sculpin got bigger, I would target them for sure.
I mean, I've caught some big sculpin that I thought were other things.
Yeah.
I've caught a sculpin on the chatterbait, and I was like, of all things, like, how did I catch a sculpin?
Me and Daniel were wrapping up a morning trip, and it was one of those trips where just our conditions, it was like, hey, we're done at 9. We're done at 9 a.m. So I go, hey, there's some structure over here that I've been looking at on my app. I want to go map it out with the boat. So we go over there. I'm like, hey, there's fish down here. Drop something down, and he drops down a craw. And he pulled up.
It was a big
sculpin, 16-inch.
That's a devil fish.
It was a big sculpin.
Yeah, it was above 2 for sure.
It was. Yeah, I was saying
I think it was like 4 something.
It was one of the bigger sculpin.
You caught a 4-pounder?
It was definitely 5.
I think the world record is. I caught one that was probably around 3 on a PK7 actually, which was crazy.
Yeah, it was on the larger scale of things because it's also one of those like random rocks that probably the sport fish don't like go to because you can only pull off 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah. And we were talking about that. I was like, I don't think the spot's big enough for
it's just one of those things that would intrigue.
But you know when you pull them up, and they've got that
when their mouth looks like a largemouth mouth.
The worst part is when you catch some like a sculpin that's this big, and you're like, all right, hold on a second. You got to wrap your hand around. You go in from right here. You're like, how did you eat a paddle tail the same size as you?
Yeah.
And you're like over here. You're like, don't touch me. So help me. I will kill you.
Oh man!
You know those
and then you throw
spines
them back.
are sharp as hell because they're skinny.
Hey, I don't want to miss this question, but Jeremy asked, scent or no scent?
I don't go any scent typically. I've tried it. I don't think it makes a huge difference, to be honest. Maybe with how long they hold on to it, but I'm like, with everything except for a crank, I'm pretty much a swing as hard as I can kind of guy. Like, you know, like when I feel like
no
You're
one
not
said
giving him a
anything
second.
about
Bombs
necessarily needing or not needing to swing.
He said Happy Gilmore style.
Literally, dude, I'm trying to hit bombs, dude.
Swing for the fences.
Oh yeah. Well,
Hey, that's how I am, man.
For me, it's like especially for saltwater, it's just turning their head away from the rocks. A lot of guys say with like the big calico and stuff, you want to just wind them on, but I don't know. I feel like turning their head is like the most important thing. So that's just my belief. But yeah.
So on
The way I fish, I like to get a couple cranks before I set, but it's the same thing. Like you said, once I get those couple cranks and I set, I'm setting
100% and hard as hell.
Don't bust the Charlie.
Yeah, don't do it, Charlie. Don't put your rod tip down.
Dude, I lost 2 big. I don't. That's a sad story.
Hey man, plenty more fish to catch.
They were in the 5-pound range.
No, that was.
You could tell by the way the rod bent. It was like, oh
yeah, you can tell, dude, just from the head shakes and the way your rod just like
it was
bounces,
digging.
The way that I tell is that when you set the hook, especially the way that you're describing, you put your whole body into it.
Move them.
The thing that tells me that it's a big one is when they don't move.
100%.
When you go and you set the hook and your rod goes, whoom, and the fish doesn't go, it doesn't move with the hook set. You
100%.
go, oh, yeah. This is a big one.
When they pull you back down.
My gosh, that's such a feeling when you go for the hook set and you're like, oh shoot!
Yep.
Oh, dude. Guys, I don't know if you knew that.
That's Charlie.
Oh hell yeah! That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
Oh my god.
Nah, dude, the last time I broke my PV on Luke's boat, in the video, I'm like, you're not getting in this fucking rock. I got him out.
Hell yeah.
Got him out. I was so stoked, man. I was like
redemption,
shaking and happy and fuck.
That thing.
Oh, that's fucking dope.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm working on figuring out how to kind of pour this one. It has a really fat body, and so the secondary plastic kind of stays hot a little bit longer, which allows the third color or the top color to blend in with the middle color, which is like okay, but with every new bait, you got to learn how to pour it, and that's the fun part about it.
Wait, let's see that color again. Stretch it out. Yeah. It's nice.
Match with some of Nick's jigs pretty well, to be honest with you.
That would match with Warbait's.
I got a
2 ounce
days or something. Morning dawn or something. His days jig.
I got a couple of Daniel's new colors here.
That thing.
Oh,
that just twerks. Look at it. Look, it's twerking.
Let me see the tail. Let me see the tail.
It's on the bike.
It's twerking. Let him see the tail.
I like that.
And then we got this one on the 2-ounce Warbaits. That one's the one.
That one's going to be cool.
So what's cool about this, and me and Daniel took a while working on this one day, it doesn't have that same thickness that a lot of other ones have. It has this pinch, and the boot starts much earlier. And what I'd say is, this is one of my favorites right here, Sudden Impact.
Right.
And this has a lot of body roll. Especially if you're playing the wounded game, it's doing it. And then if you swim like a Reyes, it's swimming a lot tighter. This one's somewhere in the middle. It's more body roll than the Reyes, but it's tighter than the Sudden Impact. So it kind of fits that middle area real nicely.
So when you're fishing the PKs, are you like dredging them or are you swimming them?
They're very versatile, man. I fish them on like a flashy swimmer that's super light, and you reel them slow above the grass, slow roll it, or I'll fish a 3/4 ounce neck breaker and burn it like right above the bottom. If I'm fishing deep for sand bass, well, not deep, for the harbor. If I'm fishing like 40 feet in the harbor for sand bass, I'm like scraping the reefs and the rocks with it, slow rolling it, like, knocking it off the rocks. If you're fishing kelp in the day, cast and burn. So they're very versatile. So I fish them all kinds of ways.
Cool.
I even put them on a chatterbait. Z-Man makes a chatterbait with a bigger blade, so it thumps way harder. And yeah, I put a PK on that.
Oh, interesting.
Largemouth and stuff. I haven't caught one on it yet, but
you will.
Hopefully soon. But yeah, I haven't really.
You will for sure.
It hasn't been the right time of year, but it's about now. So
yeah.
Now, I'm
A-rig. I love A-rigs. I just lose them every time, so I don't fish them. Yeah, all the time.
So you've never put one on an A-rig?
My buddy Nick from California Current caught a 43-inch halibut on an A-rig with the PK5. Yeah, look at Joey. Stop gassing me up, bro.
That's not a bad fish.
So, I have a question, and I lost it because Luke asked. Never mind. Continue. I forgot.
What were you going to ask?
Something was going to come to me. You know what, Charlie? If I knew what I was going to ask, I would have asked it.
I like messing with you.
It's like, where did you lose your keys? They wouldn't be lost if I knew where I put my keys.
So someone's asking what bait colors we like to fish. Hot Cheeto's one of my favorite. Yeah, haven't seen Hot Cheeto. That's Hot Cheeto. It's got the turquoise in there. Another one of my favorites, Violet Hollow Shad.
That's what I caught my PV on.
That little bit of that little iridescent purple in there.
That's the PV killer.
And this is one of Daniel's baits.
Oh yeah, so that's close to what the blood crow is going to be. Blood prints or whatever. We're working on it. We're getting there.
Check that
out. If I were
out.
to fish, honestly, to me, I don't think saltwater bass are too picky on color. So I just go with like either a bait fish or a crabby red / darker bait. So I'll go with both of these are just fine. It's like a macro color and a brown and red color. I mean, anything with red or orange or brown or black for crab. And then anything with bait fish, so blue, silver, any of that. I don't think it matters all that much to me anyways.
I'm not as good of a fisherman as you, so I think those things matter more for me. So I've just had nights where they only want to bite light stuff. None of my dark stuff's getting bit. And vice versa. I've had nights where if it's even a medium color, I'm not getting hit. They only want really dark stuff. So that's where I try to just have a little bit of everything. And there's also, I'd say, 80% of nights where it doesn't matter at all.
Yep.
Everything's getting hit. But there are those finicky nights where they zero in on something and you just got to figure out what that is.
I agree with that actually 100%. I think a safe way to sum it up would be like a color that's not see-through or a color that's kind of see-through. At least for me, that's kind of, I start there and then I break it down. If a dense bait that isn't see-through is getting bit more, then let's see if a black will get bit more than a brown or whatever. But yeah, no, there's definitely those tough nights where it does matter. But
and I've also had, and this is a weird one where they only want darks, but it's been darks with flakes, and then other nights where it's darks with no flakes. And I've had
one night
you
where
just run into these weird nights.
It was all brown color, like crabby baits, and if it didn't have an orange head, they didn't want it.
Yeah, it's just occasionally you get these weird ones. Someone's asking, what's the biggest leadhead swim bait you guys fish? For me, it's the biggest
3 ounce
I can
sword bait.
find.
I
I
don't
can't
have
find
any
any
more.
threes.
I had a few of them.
He
Not a whole lot.
doesn't make 3 ounce anymore, does he? Because I was looking.
I
I
think
was looking.
What are you
online
throwing a
this morning
3 ounce
finding
on,
the two.
man?
I think you can custom order them from him, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
I'm going to call him up.
Yeah,
and I'm
Nate
going to
Silo
let him
said
know
you
that
do
you
it, so
told
you
me.
got to do it.
What are you throwing a 3 ounce on though?
Hold on.
Like rod
Don't
or
tell
what
Luke
for?
that.
Like your rod.
8-foot extra heavy.
Sheesh.
I mean, basically anything that you would use for like a swim bait rod for freshwater. So if you're throwing like big swim baits for freshwater, you can pretty much do any of the heavier lead heads for saltwater.
Let's say because even those swim baits, they might not have that much weight in them, but they got a lot of weight in plastic.
Especially if it's like a big pearl or an MC or even like a PK9 or a 7, dude. Those plastics are heavy.
Have you started using the cannibal ones?
I bought them and he sent me some, but I fished them in Newport after the show and I got a couple taps, but couldn't hook any. But
They look pretty sick, man.
dude, I think they're gonna be torn up. And
yeah, they look pretty sick.
And I've caught, I've had small spotties like 6 inches that I'm reeling in, and a big ass halibut will come and eat it. So, yeah, kind of like if you're reeling a bluegill at a little park pond, and then you see the big old bass come in and smoke it. Same thing. So, I think the PK7 with the spotty color is going to be a very good halibut bait, to be honest.
I've caught in a few at the park ponds on the.
Dude, those bluegills
are
killer. I really like those baits. Honestly, I like them even more than the hudgill because the hudgill hookup ratio is so bad. Like just the hook position and where it is. The sudden impact ones, you can customize them as well. Whereas like the hudgill is a harness with a hook. But yeah, I mean those sudden impacts are killer. And I haven't really fished them in the salt like you have.
Especially if you got a buddy like Daniel who makes you custom lead.
So what I was saying before is don't tell Luke, hey, this guy makes stuff. Because Luke will go, hey, I heard you make something. Make it for me. Now. Make it. Me.
And then Luke actually puts like 8-aughts and 3-inch baits. So, you know.
Yeah. A big enough calico will eat it.
I'll just squeeze it in. But, well, one of the things, too, I'm just going to be a bit of a salesman here that I like about this over the HUD or over even the Megabass is I'm able to get this in there and bend out the hook.
But then it's really
it's
sticky.
Just ready. It's really sticky, and I'm able to go up to 3/4 ounce, or if Daniel makes a 2 ounce, go to 2 ounce.
Yep.
And then just dredge 100%. This thing on the bottom.
100%. I think, like I said, it was more customizable, dude. Like I think I think a lot of people almost expect to buy a bait and take it out of the package and catch fish on it. When a lot of baits aren't like that, you know, you got to add your own touch. You got to do a little customization. For example, like on the neck breakers, I slightly bent the hook up. I don't know if you can see that, but I ever so slightly bend it up.
Yep.
So, you know, I mean. I feel like it's kind of obvious. Yeah, it makes it sticky, dude. Like
makes it sticky.
If I'm fishing like dense kelp, I'll leave it down just so I'm not hooking kelp every cast. But if I'm fishing reef or anything, bend it up. You hook way more fish.
Dude, I got this ready for summer. I have the tail bit off.
Dude, that big Colorado.
I got the swim gill.
Like, thump, 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 thump.
Yep.
Ready.
What do you have? Just a 3/4 on
just waiting for that bite. I don't have anything in there right now, but it'll probably be a 3/4.
Okay.
Unless I get a 2 ounce.
He's pushing that 2 ounce. You hear him, Daniel?
He needs it, man.
Like I said, if I got a 2 ounce, I'll squeeze it into.
I don't know. This too. I don't know if you guys have seen with the neck breakers what Kicker does. They put a weightless beast hook instead of a normal Texas rig hook. And it just holds your swim bait on there just a little bit.
Dude, so I was going to ask you right now, are you guys doing that like you're doing it or they're doing it for you?
I do it myself. They also make them custom in the shop that they sell on their website. They had them at the show as well, and they're a little bit more expensive than war baits if you buy them from war baits, obviously, because they are customized and they're handmade, handcrafted into what it is. So, I mean, I think it makes a little difference, but I fish them, like, for example, this one has the normal Texas rig hook. So I fish them both. I don't think it matters.
You feel like it just has a better.
It doesn't get torn up.
I think it just makes your bait last longer. I don't think it affects the bite or like how many bites you get. I just think it affects durability.
Well, yeah, because with the EWG hooks, you only have so much room for that nose to hang on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I started using twist locks for my finesse baits on an EWG hook, and that will, I sit it back a little bit further so that for the twist lock to sit on that EWG neck kind of thing right there. And then what I do is I'll actually tie a skirt on the EWG hook because I love skirts on just stuff. But by just putting the twist lock on a normal bait and then feeding the twist lock onto the EWG hook, it saves your bait. And then you can catch 20 fish with it rather than potentially only 3.
Now, are you twisting the actual lock on the hook, or because you know how for the EWG, I think the lock sits.
So
it sits like this.
So what I do is, so I buy.
It's got to be a beast hook, not an EWG.
And they already have the lock on them.
Yeah, but when you connect it to the neck breaker.
Oh, so what I do is I bend the little eye.
Yeah.
On the lead. So this little one that's connected to the split ring, I bend it 90 degrees, so it's facing up and down. So you see how that back one?
Yeah.
Facing up and down, and this one is side to side.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah.
Yeah. So I bend it 90 degrees, and I mean, originally I thought it was going to break, honestly, under big fish, but I've caught big fish on it, and I know the kicker boys have caught even bigger fish than me on it, so I trust it.
Yeah, I saw a video they posted when they were making them.
Yep. And they
pretty cool
like that. And I even messaged Randy. I was like, dude, is that like, do they give on big fish? And he was like, nah, dude, they hold. So I trust them.
That's cool.
Yeah, just
it will
extra time can save you a bunch of money worth of pickle fish.
A bunch of money on your baits.
Exactly.
See.
Exactly, man. I wish I still had. Did you guys see those halibut that I caught recently?
Oh, dude, those I put them on this promo I just did of you.
Oh, hell yeah!
Insane.
So those halibut I caught on this color, but with a mint head, and on that same day I caught legal sand bass and legal calico on the same exact, like, same plastic, same head. Caught all 3 of those species, and then after I caught 3 of those halibut, I like backlashed and snapped my bait off and watched it fly like way out into the ocean. And I was like, dude, like, I should have hung that one on the wall.
What size were those halibut?
What was that?
What size were those halibut?
One was 27, one was 23. And then I caught.
Now, have you ever
doormats?
Have you ever casted a weight and it just slices your rod in half? Dude, there's this one time I was using a little bit of a heavier, just sinker. It was like, not those bullet sinkers, but the normal sinkers you would use for just dropper loops and all that stuff. Yeah. So I go like this to cast it, and the sinker just goes straight through the rod. And I've never seen it done before. But I cast it, it goes straight through the rod. And his reel blows up, and I'm just standing there like, what? What just
How did you have your weight inside the rod?
That's insane.
How was your weight in the rod?
I mean, I just went boom, and it just went and just sliced through the rod. Reel blows up.
How did the weight get in the eyes, like in the guides?
No, it didn't. I'm casting normally. The weight, because I pendulum swing it to cast it, it just went and then somehow hit the rod. It wasn't in the eyes. I was doing a normal cast.
That's horrible,
Well,
dude.
clearly,
You're doing something
that's
wrong.
also why I can't catch fish, Luke.
Man.
Listen, Daniel, we don't put the
It
blade
wasn't in the
inside of
eyes.
It sounds like it was.
Love it. Love it.
You thought you were going to come on here and talk with real fishermen, and now you
Hey,
got
bro,
a story
that's
about
the fun
weights
part
inside
about
the
all the
eyes.
funny stuff, bro.
All the funny stories.
You guys act like you don't catch fish every week. I see it.
Man.
Well, the
Hey,
thing that I'm excited for is the water is finally at like a level of visibility that I'm like, okay, I'm kind of excited to fish this. So it was so chocolatey lately that I was like, honestly, you got to hit a bass on top of the head to even to catch it. I'm not like extremely excited to go fishing.
Hear me out. Chatterbait, spinnerbait. They don't see it, they feel it.
Very.
That sounds like something Charlie was saying the other day.
What, you don't see it, you feel it? It's just Charlie walking through a crowd of people. You don't see him, you just feel him. He's out there pinching butts as he goes by.
No.
Oh, man. How was the Cast and Crank? Cast and Crank was dope. All those boys were cool too.
You did this. Yeah. Talk about that.
Session for me, man. I was talking to some veterans, so I was just soaking up all that information and sharing what I knew. But that was definitely a learning mission for me. I just wanted to go and hear those boys talk, and they got years of experience, so that was dope, super dope.
But you up there with them heavy hitters, for sure.
Maybe
you're up there.
I haven't been doing it as long as they have. They've seen it go up and down and up and down and up and down, and I've seen it a couple times, but I don't know. I feel like experience on the water is just hard to beat, man. It really is.
Yeah, for sure.
I think a lot of guys think they can go smash, and then they go do like a SWBA and end up like in the bottom of the lineup, and they're like, damn, what went wrong? And I'm like, I'm telling you, man, it's that experience, dude.
Yeah.
All it is.
But definitely.
Time on the water.
Well, it's also one of the things they keep saying is it's the bad day that separates you. 100%. Everyone does good on the good day, but when you hit that bad day, there's
big separation.
Big separation.
Like you're saying, it's those days where you find that key bait that works. And that's what separates people from, being successful and not successful is, are they willing to change a bait when it's not working, or are they stubborn and they're going to say, hey, I'm going to throw it till it gets bit?
Daniel.
Hey, that's different, though. He's
or
like,
don't feel like retying.
So he's like, there's a personal connection there,
There you go. He's backing you up, Daniel.
I had to turn off the vacuum chamber so you could hear me. Yes. And the cool part about being stubborn with baits is you learn new things.
Mm-hmm.
Is you go, oh, you know what? I fished that a little bit different because it's the fifth hour in a row that I've been throwing that. And, it swims a little bit different if I twitch it with a pop rather than a pop with a twitch. And then it's like, so the cool part about making baits is now that I've fished them for so long, I really have like this connection, and I go, well, if I just, do a wrist flick rather than a twitch, it just makes the whole bait go completely differently. Or I can be like, you know what? They're hitting it on the fall. They're not hitting it on any other presentation. I'm going to go to a lighter head on this, that, and that's going to do this. Or I'm going to add a tail spinner, or I'm going to knock it down an inch. So the cool part is like you really, I want to say, spend honing in different skills to make stuff differently, or to make stuff move differently, which is cool. And then that can be applied to different baits in general. And sometimes it's like those hard days that you're just like, I'm getting this bait bit. And that might be because I split the tail on the 6-inch slug. So now it's kind of like a wide or a long tail fluke, soft jerk bait, as some people would call it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool. Or you're like, okay, I'm going to cut little grooves into this, and now it's going to have kind of that tail wag rather than just this floppy, just side to side.
Well, I will say I was out with Daniel one time, and he goes, "Does anybody have a little blade?" Yeah, I got one in my box. And he goes, "Yeah, I just thought that my little slug would work better with a blade on it." And I looked at it and I went, because I'd never fished a slugs. I go, "Wow, that's something I want to fish. Give me one of those real quick." I ended up catching caught my PB spotty at that time, like literally that same night, and it was like all it.
So I always say this on this live. If you don't know Daniel, he's the MacGyver of baits, right?
Right.
He'll just like he was saying earlier, right? Screw locks. He'll make screw locks out. He's like, "Oh, Charlie, you want a screw lock?" He'll pull it out. He's like that. So it's pretty cool, man, and it works.
I'll make.
Well, it's funny when you walk up on him and he's got an A-rig filled with slugs. You're like, "What are you doing with that A-rig filled with slugs? Stop it! Someone's going to see us." And then he's now 5 fish later and still hasn't caught one. He's like, "You sure you don't want one of these?"
I actually saw something similar to that, but it was years ago in San Diego, and it was this post this guy made, and it was a 5-arm A-rig with 5 flukes with Texas rig hooks and no weights anywhere. Not a
Interesting.
And he had 3 spotties on his A-rig. And it blew my mind because I'm like,
that would work.
He must have casted it, let it sink slow, and just like ripped it or something. But I don't know. But
or was making it surge.
Oh, dude,
what
get a lot of action
people
with the
say
flukes.
is that if you're not fishing the A-rig like a jerk bait, you're missing a lot of opportunities. And that's the cool thing about the slug is you can slow roll it. You can add tail spinners to the whole thing, and it's like fishing with paddle tails. You can put the slugs on there, and then you can jerk bait it, and it's like having 5 jerk baits all at the same time. It's like the donkey rig on steroids. And I mean, for the most part, if I'm on a tall enough boat and I have the opportunity to, I'll fish that thing like a jerk bait. Boom, 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 and then just let it fall. Usually next to docks, I'll throw it right next to the dock so it falls down, let it hit, pulsate, just boom, boom, let it fall again. And like Luke was saying, it's funny because it's like I know the exact same day he was talking about. So I just go out there. I'm like, all right, it's that dusk hour. The sun is going down. It's like maybe 45 minutes before sunset. Boom, we're just going to hit this thing hard, pulsate, and it's it's going down.
And I'm going to maintain that it's still the stupidest looking thing I've ever seen. But that rig is what I've seen the most.
And he probably made that A-rig himself.
No, our buddy.
Wait, but he did make an A-rig.
Not the A-rig you're thinking about. I lost that A-rig. The day that you're looking at, Luke, I didn't make it. I didn't make it.
So, he's lying. So we've got 6 minutes left. Okay. Put in your plugs.
Obviously, they've been out for many, many years, and they've proven that they can catch any kind of fish, really. So that's dope. Happy to work with them. I've been a fan long before I started working with them. So again, perfect fit. Obviously, kicker fishing. Shout out Randy, Skyler, Vin. That's like, if I could pick one bait to fish for any kind of salty bass, for all 3, it would be a PK5. So shout out kicker. Taipan rods, which is what made the warbait rod. Taipan right there. It's upside down. Taipan. Boom.
Nice.
They make some killer rods. Not only warbaits rods too. A lot of people were asking me like, did they just make the warbaits rods? Like, is this new? No, they make freshwater rods, rail rods for tuna, big swim bait rods, finesse rods. They make everything. So go check out Taipan as well.
Is the homeless fisherman using their stuff?
The homeless fisherman uses. Why am I drawing a blank right now? It starts with an L. I can't remember. But
have you fished with him before?
Oh, I have.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I took him spotty fishing in San Diego Bay, and then I took him to a secret lake as well.
Oh, Kevin said they make jig sticks too.
Jig sticks as well. Yeah, they make everything. Any kind of rod you need, they make it. So, yeah, 100%. Also, lateral vision, right there. I actually started working with lateral vision. Leviathan, yes. Joey coming in clutch. Leviathan, yeah.
That's what it was.
Vision. I've been working with them actually for like 3 or 4 years.
Nice.
Shout out Nick. Shout out Derek. Cool ass dudes, fishy dudes. Couldn't be more happy with that. And then the last one is the Bates fishing reels, which I just got my first one finally after testing it. I fished with it already. Caught 2 spotties on it. A lot of people ask me if it's worth the price point, and I say 100%. I say 100%.
Does that have a cast control on it? I didn't get a good look at it. Does that have a cast control on it?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yep. It's got carbon fiber handle.
That's slick.
20 pounds of drag. And 20 pounds of drag
so
for
War
a
Baits
150 size reel is insane.
Damn.
Just posted a video.
Yeah, I think it's like 11 pounds on a Calcutta.
Yeah, 100%.
Not a Calcutta, a Torado.
And then even the Tranx is like 14 or something like that. And honestly, like just when you get one in your hand, you can just feel the quality. And that's with the rods too. Like this combo right here it's the nicest combo I've ever owned. You can just feel that it's made and just built to last. And that's the thing about me and you guys fishing salt is we need things that last, because salt water is really rough on your gear. So, yeah, dude. And even for reels that aren't designed specifically for salt water, they hold up. They hold up great. So
yeah, because the salt one is the blue one, right?
No, that's the salt one. It's like a grayish blue, and it's called the Seaborn.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yes, it's called the Seaborn. What's that?
Oh, so yours is the freshwater one.
Yeah, it's called the Bates.
Is yours the freshwater one?
Is the Seaborn is like a sub line, I guess they have.
Now, are you just gonna put that through the ringer and fish at salt anyway, so that you can give us a report in a little while?
So I already kind of did fish it a little bit on the salt. I fished the silver one in a lake, and I know Lane and Kevin have both fished the silver one for 2 or 3 months in the salt, and they're still butter, good as new. So, I mean, I think they've proved themselves, and I personally think that this is going to be that next company that kind of blows up and spreads out everywhere. Do you guys know who Grant Longmore is from Texas? He's another big swim bait guy who's got a bunch of double digits and whatever, but he's like a 20, 21-year-old kid, and in his YouTube videos, bait's real. And he's out in Texas fishing for a double-digit bass. So, that's another thing. He's a credible source, I would say. He fishes the big
days. Shannon let me fish his setup. That Saturday we fished together, and he has the Seaborn one with his war bait rod.
Pretty
got two nice spotties on it. I ain't even gonna lie,
Pretty nice, huh?
It was good.
Pretty nice.
It was good.
Well, I go, how was it, Charlie? He's like, it's pretty good. I go, really? He goes, listen, I'm not going to lie. It was really nice.
I mean,
it was cool.
How strong the rod and reel both are compared to how light it is, it doesn't make sense.
And that's what I thought it was going to be heavy, but it wasn't, man.
No, and because it's the full body of the reel is all metal. I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot what metal it was. I feel like I'm a bad rep right now. But
it's like some. It's
like a one piece.
Was it aluminum
of some kind? And when I first saw how they made them, when I was first looking into them, I was like, dude, it's what?
It's billet, right?
Yeah.
It's billet where it's carved out.
when I first saw that process, I was like, dude, this thing is going to be a brick, kind of like an Avid reel or an Accurate reel. How they're big and clunky and heavy, but nah, dude, this thing feels like it doesn't feel like any other bait caster I've ever fished, to be honest.
So here's
Kevin
the deal.
says,
I got to get my rod wrapped
bar
up
stock
in time.
aluminum.
CNC mild.
Okay, there we go.
Mild.
Yeah.
Milled.
CNC
Yeah, it's
milled.
nice, man.
So I got to get my rod wrapped by the time we have the LA Fishing Alliance tournament. So I'm going to be able to put some fish on that, give a report on how we're liking it. Are you going to be fishing that tournament?
I don't even know what's going on, to be honest. No.
You heard it now.
Have you heard about it? From what I understand, it's Ventura to San Diego, open-ended. It's going to be from I think they said 6 a.m. to noon.
Anything.
Show up by
short pound, float tube, kayaks.
Anything, anywhere, fish at your own risk. And you got to be there it doesn't count unless you're there by 2 o'clock at the shop.
Go back to the shop?
At 2 o'clock, they take the measurements. Yeah, so if you decide to fish San Diego, they're like, hey, you got 2 hours to get back to the shop.
2 o'clock, your dog is traffic.
Are you deep in San Diego?
No, I'm from Temecula. I'm right between Long Beach and San Diego, so I can go either way.
I guess last time they were saying, like, hey, if you're fishing San Diego, you might want to stop at 11. Make sure you're here on time. But yeah, the last one there was over 100 people in it, Charlie.
Yeah, Nick.
It was cool.
Nick took first place. Nick from SoCal Fishing Squad. I was blanking. SoCal Fishing Squad, and then Luke was up there, man.
Hey, Nick took first place.
Nick took first. I was in fourth.
Okay. What was first place? How many was it? Inches or weight?
Inches.
Was it 3 or 5?
3
inches. 3 biggest fish.
3.
So what was
biggest?
What was it?
3.
You know?
Oh man, I don't know. I forgot, but he was up there. I mean, they weren't far apart, but he was up there.
I don't remember. I don't remember everything, but I remember he was like an inch and a half in front of me, and the person that was third, the person just in front of me, it was like a quarter inch.
Huge.
So he was first by an inch. Like second place was a full inch behind him, and then third and fourth.
He has some big fish
right there.
Yeah, dude.
So it's picture based. You're going to need a bump board. All pictures have to be in, but like Luke said, I believe you have to end the day at the shop.
You should make a trip out of it, Nate.
You're still going to have to send the pictures in to somebody, but for the most part, you're going to have to.
No, you show them at the shop.
No, you
don't send them
like a code or something written on your hand too. Or
yeah, they give you a code, okay. But you go to the shop and you show them the pictures. They're there. Phil's one of the ones checking the fishes too.
Sweet, man.
So he's there. So I'll make a trip out of it, man. It's on the 25th, March 25th. Spotties only.
Dope. That's dope, man.
Spotties only. Well, what's cool too is they generate the code at 6. So like what I did is I was at the spot I wanted to fish with, ready to fish. They generated the code. I wrote it down, threw my line in the water.
Dude, yeah.
Yep.
I definitely won't be fishing San Diego. That's for sure. Screw that. Screw that, dude. I got to.
You're in the middle. You do what Tom does. Tom lives in Temecula. You know Tom?
Yep.
True Punks?
I know Tom. When I was like 19, I used to mow his lawn. Yeah.
That's dope.
I love Tom.
That's dope.
But yeah, I'm just like him. I go everywhere from I think the farthest north I've been is Marina del Rey, and then I go all the way down to San Diego Bay. So pretty much everything in between.
Yeah, the farthest
What's
north.
really interesting is there's a lot of people.
Dude,
say that Marina del Rey doesn't hold any fish.
It doesn't have fish
because it doesn't.
It's only 10 inches.
Doesn't have fish. Don't bother coming.
It's only 10 inches.
It really is.
All right.
Sweet.
All right, guys, we have to wrap it up. This was a pretty good one. Thank you for
Ton of
coming.
fun.
It was awesome.
For sure.
It was awesome to
For sure.
it was awesome to meet you.
Hey man, that was really cool.
It's awesome to meet the whole fish rep crew.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
Let's do it, man. Set up a day.
Exactly.
what's Marina Del
Rey, Kevin? I don't know.
As soon as
Kevin said, "What's Marina Del Rey?"
It's happening.
Yeah, dude. It's a place for good
Exactly. He
margaritas.
knows.
That's it.
Well, Nate, man, it was a pleasure having you on. Thank you for hopping on with us, kicking it, talking fish. But yeah, appreciate you, man.
Of course, man.
It was fun.
And if you ever want to do another one, bro, I love stuff like this, dude. Just kicking it, talking fishing. I love it, man.
You know what? Honestly, I do want to do another one, and I want to do it a little down the road where we can say, now that I've put this much time on the rod, now that I've put this much time on the reel, and have those kind of talks. I'm going to throw this out there too, just because Daniel doesn't promote his stuff enough. One of the cool things about his bait is we've got this flat spot, so that when it lands, it'll actually sit.
You can
Luke, how are you? Yeah, so the idea is that with that little belly, it'll kind of also sit upright so that it's like putting it on a stand-up head already, or it'll help tilt it forward so you can still get that kind of that tail wobble from other style baits, but now you're doing it with a paddle tail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Nate, again, thank you, man, for kicking it with us.
Of course.
For this hour and a half. Pleasure, man. Picking your brain,
Hell yeah, dude.
But thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, you guys.
Had a blast.
Peace out.
Deuces.